Hey guys, Andrew here with Langler Woodworks. A little bit of a different video this week. If you'll notice, I've upgraded my audio, so it should be a little bit helpful for what we're going to do today. Today I just wanted to sit down and talk about the tools that I've upgraded that I've found have helped my productivity the most in my business. I've made a lot of changes over the years, and recently moving into this larger shop space, there's been a couple tools that are really shining and helping me to grow my business and build things more efficiently at better quality. Let's get into it. One of my favorite sayings that I was taught by a woodworking mentor of mine is if you can mark it out, you can cut it. Due to that, I've taken my layout tools very seriously right from the beginning. Now, where I may have started out with speed squares, adjustable squares from big box stores, and in some cases, even a large framing square like this on larger projects, I quickly found that I wasn't always getting exactly the results that I wanted. Now, these are quite accurate for what they are, but I've always found that I get better results when I use something like this. These are engineering squares, which I purchased about 3 months into my woodworking journey from Lee Valley Tools here in Canada. They were affordable. I think this one was $20 and this one was maybe $10 when I bought them 4 or 5 years ago. And they've done nothing but fantastic things for me since I purchased them. They're not quite as sexy looking as the Red Woodpecker tools or the Bridge City Toolworks, but they do the job. Believe me, those nice looking tools are still on my radar, and when I have the shop wall finished up to have a nice little setting, they'll definitely be dotting it. But for the meantime, there are rather higher priorities for me to reinvest in my business than to have some sexy looking framing squares. When I first started out, I associated big brand names such as DeWalt with high quality woodworking tools. Not that that's a mistake. I have a lot of Milwaukee tools and I do have a couple of DeWalt corded tools. That said, when it comes to clamping, these trigger clamps are not your best friend, especially when you're looking at large panel glue-ups where there's large potential for warping. Although I got good results with these, I often found myself having to readjust my glue-ups and do a lot of sanding to get them to come back to flush after they'd cupped through the glue-up. What I use now are these BANDSAW parallel jaw clamps. With a little bit of practice, they're just as quick as a trigger clamp to adjust, but they provide a much more even and a stronger clamping pressure, allowing you to make better glue-ups on wider panels. This particular one is also longer than any of the trigger clamps you can buy on the market, and these come even longer than this. I've seen them as long as I think 6 feet, 8 feet. Those are absurdly expensive, and I don't need them at this point. However, if I ever did come to the point where I needed something that long, I would absolutely invest in this. I do also have a series of pipe clamps, but if I'm going for a glue-up, I'm reaching for the Bessies. So this one I was actually a little uncertain on including. I'm a firm believer that you don't need machinery to do good woodworking. I started out with a Japanese pull saw and some chisels that I purchased from my local big box store. That said, when I first started out, and to this day, I find myself doing a fair amount of work with my bandsaw. My biggest mistake and waste of money, although it wasn't much, in my entire woodworking career was without doubt buying, and I won't name the brand, a small tabletop bandsaw from a big box store. It cost me about 150 Canadian dollars, and it performed like it was worth about 10. It had no tensioning, it had no power, you couldn't get the guide to stick, and for the longest time, I truly did believe that I was just a bad woodworker. It wasn't until I took a course at Lee Valley and got to use a Delta bandsaw, similar to this one, actually, that I realized that, no, I wasn't some idiot who didn't know how to use a bandsaw. It's just that this was a situation where I actually could blame my tool. Now, I'm not a believer in blaming my tools. I'm always of the mindset that if something's not working, I'm doing something wrong. Because I think that provides you the best opportunity to figure it out and improve as a woodworker. And if you're doing that in other aspects of your life as a person. That said, this was one situation where my equipment was holding me back. So I made the decision to invest in this Rikon 14-inch bandsaw. Over the years, I've plastered it in stickers, it's well loved, and I've had nothing but good experiences with this thing. It's a bit of a learning curve having a large piece of machinery like this, the care, learning to reload the blade. It's a lot different than what you'd get from one of those tabletop models, but that's a very good thing. This thing rips through material, it's fantastic, it's accurate, it's powerful, can't say enough good things. This is a situation where I definitely think it's worth skipping the beginner tool and going straight for the pro-sized upgrade. Probably the best investment I've made in the quality of my finished work, other than improving the quality of the finish that I actually use, has been improving the quality of my sanding tools. Enter Fez tool. Every woodworker's love-hate relationship. Festool is notoriously expensive. However, the quality of their tools speaks for themselves. I'm a big believer in buy once, cry once, and for me, this Rotex 120 has been a game changer. Previously, I used to use a belt sander, which I paid about $45 for, and a random orbit sander, which I also paid about $45 for, and it would get the job done. But it would take me about twice as long as it would switching from aggressive to random mode on this Rotex, and my finish wouldn't be as nice. I'd go through a lot more sandpaper due to the inferior pattern and weighting. It just wasn't as much fun. I don't have the vacuum that accompanies this, although it is on my list to purchase. The dust collection that Festool has is, bar none, absolutely exceptional. I've never seen anything better. I've heard that Mirka competes. I've never used a Mirka in my experience, so I can't speak to that. A lot of people who I do trust on the YouTube, such as Mark Spagnolo and John Malecki, do speak to the attributes of Mirka and do frequently use them in their shop. This is the Festool Rotex 120. When I purchased this particular one in 2019, it cost me about 800 Canadian dollars. I'm not sure what they're priced at now because frankly I haven't looked to replace this. It's a very heavy sander, which is something that I particularly like. I find it takes a lot of the pressure off of your upper body by just having that weight there to keep it doing its job. I find it very easy to get a smooth, consistent pattern with this. It doesn't run away on me like a belt sander would. If it does happen to catch something, it doesn't jump nearly as bad as a belt sander or a cheap random orbit sander would. I have nothing but good things to say about this tool. Was it worth the price? Absolutely. I dragged my fiance, then girlfriend, with me and had her watch me count out $800 and $20 bills just to make sure I was prepared to invest this. Obviously, it's sitting on my hands, so yes, I did put down every single one of those $20 bills, and I have no regrets. It was absolutely the right decision. If you're looking to upgrade your sander, go with a premium line. It will cut your time in half and save you hours and hours, which is more time you can put into other aspects like content creation in your business. A common saying among woodworkers is that your table saw is the center of your shop. I'm no exception to that rule. Everything that I make passes through my table saw at least once, oftentimes more. So for me, this General International table saw, which is new to me this year, has been the biggest upgrade that I have put into my shop yet. Prior to that, I was using this little DeWalt job site saw. Again, this is a great saw for what it's purposed for, and I only purchased this in the day because I got it for half price. I believe new, this with the stand that I got is about $800. I paid about $370 for it back in 2019. And again, it's served me very well over the years. I have no complaints. But for what I do, this is just not the proper tool for the job. And in fact, if you're looking at getting into woodworking with the intention of building furniture, I would personally skip this altogether and take the dive and invest in a proper cabinet table saw. So there you have it. Those are the 5 tools that I feel have most impacted my business growth over the years. I'm sure you may have a different opinion depending on what you build or the scale of your business. If you're much larger than me, your best investment might have been a wide belt sander. If you're a hobbyist, that might be a new handsaw. Regardless, let me know what your best improvement has been in the comments below. If you feel I provided you value today, I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Be sure to check me out on socials. And other than that, we'll see you on the next one.